take a look at the budget spreadsheet. Download the template from the application process page. That's at shareoneapp.org/application. If you receive funding from any of the HSFC cities in 2023, you'll want to enter those amounts in the 2023 awarded column. If you didn't receive any funding, you can enter 0 or just leave it blank. In the 2025 requested column, enter the annual amounts you're requesting from each city for this cycle. These cities need to match the boxes you checked at the beginning of your application. The difference between 2023 and 2025 will auto-calculate. In the next section, you report on other sources of funding and use the text box at the bottom to explain your in-kind or other revenues. On the expenses side of the page, list your actual expenses for the program in 2023 and what you expect to be spending in 2025. The third column is for how much of your projected expenses you're asking the cities to pay for by line item. The numbers in this third column cannot be greater than the total 2025 projected numbers. We made these numbers up, but here you can see what a budget spreadsheet might look like. We've got our 2023 revenues in column B, and they total $51,000 down at the bottom. That's $14,000 from the 3 cities and another $37,000 from other sources. Column C is what we're requesting in 2025. $15,950 from the 3 cities and $43,000 from others. If you can see it, we've got $500 in in-kind revenues, and I've noted in the box at the bottom that it's donated office space. Then on the expenses side, we enter the actual amounts spent in 2023 and what we're projecting to spend in 2025. You can see we slightly overspent our 2023 budget by $10, but for 2025, they match exactly. Normally, the revenues and expenses would match, unless for some reason you're expecting a surplus or deficit, which you would explain in the box that says Surplus Deficit 2025 Explanation. If the difference between 2023 and 2025 is greater than 10%, here you can see it's 16%. Provide an explanation in the application narrative. Some reasons might be that you're projecting to serve 50% more clients, or your rent went way up, or maybe last time you didn't calculate the full cost of providing services, and you're correcting that this time. Whatever it is, make sure you explain it. The last column, column I, is the city's share of the expenses. So here, I'm requesting a total of $15,950 from the 3 cities. So that number must match the total for the cities on the expenses side. Here, I've put most of it into salaries and the rest of it in benefits. The rest of the expenses are paid for by other sources. Second page of the workbook, you'll enter your service units. What service or services is your program providing? How are you going to measure them? Use the drop-down menus to find the most appropriate category for your service and unit of measurement. There are 35 categories of services you can choose from on the drop-down list, and you can also find them listed on the program and budget upload instructions. Things like counseling or legal services or therapeutic daycare. If you're not sure what category makes the most sense for your program, contact your city staff for help. Next, you'll want to say how you're measuring those services. Is it by 60-minute sessions, or maybe by bed night? Are you counting the number of phone calls? There's a drop-down list with 24 different units of measurement. Again, if you need help, please contact city staff They're friendly people and happy to help. Please be sure to briefly describe your service unit and measurement. Let's say you're a food bank and your service is food. That doesn't really tell us much, but the measurement might be either pounds of food or meals. Whatever makes the most sense for your program. Explain how you're defining that service unit and how you're measuring it. In the next section, you'll enter the number of service units you provided to each city's residents in 2023 and how many you expect to provide in 2025. And just like with the budget, of the projected service in 2025, how many of those service units will be paid for by each city that you're requesting funding from. The city-funded numbers cannot be bigger than the 2025 projected numbers for any city. My program also offers group sessions, which I want to track and report on. I've chosen counseling as the name of the service, and will be counting each 60-minute session as one unit. As you can see, I'm not asking the cities to pay for much of this service. Most of the funding for this particular service will come from an outside grant. It's pretty straightforward. Again, the city-funded column is either the same or less than the total number of residents you expect to serve in 2025. Some cities, particularly in South King County, have multiple zip codes that cross city boundaries. So please be sure you know how you'll be tracking each city's residents. If you need help, please contact city staff.